And that is such a good reminder too, is like, they say to do that when you start to feel down, when you start to be like depressed or whatever about something, to go back, or like when you start like kind of feeling bad about yourself because of like what's happening right now, to go back to the times when you did something really well. Cause then it brings you back up, like it boosts your, your confidence. So you're doing exactly like what the experts say to do. It's like, like, I try to think about it like I went through anesthesia school. I like, whenever I think I can't do something, I'm like, dude, you did 28 months of a grueling program where you worked for free at the hospital. Every day I deliver anesthesia to patients undergoing surgery and I keep them alive. That's a miracle in itself. So like, I try to remind myself of that. I ran a marathon. That's a huge, I try to remember those things too. But thank you for sharing. That was a good reminder. All right, so let's get into the book club discussion. I am not all the way, I didn't finish all of part 3 even, and part 4 is like really long. I probably should have broken these up a little bit more, but yay, because Jamie's leading the discussion, so I can just follow along. I've read this book, I've listened to it on audio twice. I don't think I've ever read it, but I've definitely listened to it at least twice on audio. So even like reading the stories, I know what the stories are because I remember it from listening to it. So I took notes on my book reading, so I can probably chime in while you lead if you want us to.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of information. And as I was going through, I'm like, oh, we probably should have broken this up because this was a lot. So I'm going to try to figure out how to share my screen here. Let's see here. Okay, is everybody seeing my dude?
Yep.
Okay. So part 3 was talking about leaders need a following, and so that it was talking about the emergence of trust and the tipping point. So for those of you who didn't read it, I would strongly encourage you to read it. So the emergence of trust, it started out talking about Continental Airlines. I'm not familiar with them, but I guess they were an airlines that have been around. So like in the 1980s, they were like the worst airline there was out there, and in the early 90s. So the morale of the company, it was absolutely horrible. Their employees weren't happy. They were rude and disrespectful to their customers, and they were just treated each other poorly. And they filed bankruptcy in 1983 and 1991, and they went through 10 CEOs in 10 years. So that is a good indication that things were way off. Gordon Bethune, he took over as the CEO in 1994. The year that he took over, they had lost $600 million and ranked last in most of the performance categories. After his first year, they made a profit of $250 million and became one of the best companies to work for. They started pretty much routinely hitting all of their performance measures. So how did he do it? He pretty much just went in, he created trust, he changed the culture, he gave the people something to believe in, he made everything about how it benefited the employees and focused on the things that he knew was important. One of the things that I found they were talking about, instead of telling the flight attendants to keep the cabin clean for their, guests, to do it for themselves, because having a good clean work environment made the environment better for everybody there. So I love that success story. I mean, he took a business, that was absolutely failing and turned it around and made it a pretty big success. And then the next part went on and was talking about like the difference between you and me, or between you and the caveman, is the car that you drive. So it was talking about how like the human race, we've been successful because we have formed cultures. So cultures are basically just groups of people that have come together who have the same set of common values and beliefs. So we trust the people who share those same common values and beliefs that we have. One of the great examples that they gave is like, a lot of people moved to New York City. That may be a great fit for some, but some people living in Minneapolis may be a better fit. It's all just kind of based on the values and beliefs that we have. I know I probably would not thrive in New York City. It's, a bustling place, or at least it was before the pandemic. And so I appreciate my little small town life that I have here in Ohio. So I'm sure we probably all have different examples of how, everything's not, it's not a good fit for us. It doesn't mean that, it's better. It just means that we're each different. And then the next thing that it went on was talking about, they interviewed 2 stonemasons. Each of these men, they each do the same exact job day in and day out. And if you walked up to the first one and said, oh, how's your job? Do you like it? And he's like, oh, I do the same thing day in and day out. This wall's not even going to be built before I die. It's monotonous. This heat, it's horrible. And then you go up and you ask the second person, he was like, oh, I love my job. I'm building a cathedral. And so he understands the whole vision and purpose behind it and the why to what he's doing. So he definitely has a different perspective and attitude. And then the picture of the lady on the screen here, this is General Lori Robinson. If you haven't read the book, I would definitely recommend going and just Googling her. She is a very impressive woman. She was the first female officer in the history of the United States Armed Forces to command a major unified combatant command. She retired in 2018, but she received many awards. She's very decorated general. She was named one of Times Magazine's list of 100 most influential people. But what is great about her is just the trust that she built with everybody in the military. She started every day by reminding herself of her why as to why she came to work. And so her why was that she worked hard to clear a path for others so they could confidently go on to bigger and better things and leave the military and the country in a better shape than what they found it. So she was just really amazing. She, again, earned the trust and respect of everybody above her and below her. People, when they went to war, they wanted her to be on the other end of the her guide. And again, also the military, that's just a great example of a culture. It's people who all have come together, who share the same common values and beliefs. And then the last part was the influence of others. And it's just, reiterating that we're more likely to trust those who share our same beliefs and values. And, no matter how much money is spent on a marketing campaign, if you have a recommendation of a friend, you're more likely to trust that than, a celebrity endorsement or, again, just all these $1 million ad campaigns that these companies come out with. And if why I'm going on, if anybody has any, thing they want to throw in, any comments, please feel free to unmute yourself and say anything. So the next chapter was talking about the law of diffusion. I thought this was really interesting. So our population, it's broken down into 5 different segments. So you have your innovators, your early adapters, your early majority, your late majority, and then your laggards. So the first 2.5% of the population, those are your innovators, and then the next 13.5% are your early adapters. So your innovators, those are the people who pursue new products and ideas aggressively, and they're very intrigued about any advancement. And being first to them is very important. They challenge the rest of us to think and see the world a little bit differently. The early adapters, they are very similar to the innovators as they see the value of new ideas and are willing to take risk, but they are not idea generators like the innovators. So your innovators and your early adapters, those are your people who are willing to spend, 6 hours in line to get the newest and latest, greatest iPhone, and be the first to have all of that new technology. So the next 34% of the early majority, followed by the late majority, and then the laggers. So the early and late majority are more practical minded. The early majority, they're a little bit more comfortable with new ideas and technologies, where the late majority and the laggards are not. So the more farther on the right that you go, the more you're going to encounter customers that may need what you have, but they don't necessarily believe what you believe. So we all sit on this spectrum differently depending on the product or the idea. The goal of a business should not be to simply sell anyone who wants what you have, but to find people who believe what you believe. And so those are going to be people who are going to be on the left side of the curve. And those people are also going to perceive a greater value in what you do and will be more likely to tell others about you. So when I think about this, when it comes to like terms of technology, I'm definitely probably more of an early majority or a late majority. I'm not going to be the first one who's going to go out and buy the new iPhone or the new Apple Watch, whatever. I kind of wait, till other people buy them and hear their feedback. So I don't know if anybody else can relate to that, but I'm probably not the person that they are looking for.
Well, yeah, and the interesting thing about this chart actually too is like you could look at us as the innovators, like the coaches are kind of like the innovators. Then we have our early adapters on our teams. Like that just made me think of, I feel like our group now is starting to get more, or at least maybe my people are, so maybe that's why I feel like it. Some of my customers, okay, I don't have my early innovator coach group developed yet, but when I look at the early adapters, I think of like our new launches, like the new programs that come out, and how I feel like, at least within my customer group, they've been along with me now for, a year and a half. And now it's not such a big deal. They all will buy the program to do, not they all, but a lot of them will buy the program to invest in the early release of the program. So then you can see like, okay, so these may be some of our new adapter groups that how those people would fit into that chart, I guess I would say. It's like, we all got to look at like, how does this relate to like correlate to like our opportunities? And so I guess that's kind of like what I thought of, I guess, when I looked at that chart is, oh, cool. I have like people who I think maybe are moving into that group who are more willing, because of the trust that has been developed, to, invest more for getting the products and the experience with us,
I'll tell you
that's
what,
a great way to look at it.
I don't think I'm like an innovator or early adopter, but in some things I think I am. Like I started Beachbody coaching when it wasn't even like, people didn't really even know it was a thing, like I was like, whatever. And when MLMs weren't so big. So in that way I was, but with the iPhone, I was like, why am I going to go? Like I waited until it had been out for so long before I got an iPhone. And in response to your message about like the launch of the program, like when they first started doing these launches, I was like, I'm not going to ask my customers to pay extra to get a new program. Like that's shitty, And then I had people reaching out to me saying, are you going to run a like Lift 4 group or whatever it was? Like the first time they did this, the first couple times they did this, I was like, that's like, and then I had people wanting to go to other coaches because I wasn't running a group and I wasn't offering them the new program. And so I'm like, okay, people want it. So why am I going to stop them? Like they want to invest in the new program. So now I'm like, now I'm moving into, now I'm an innovator with programs, but for a while I was like the late majority. So.
Yeah, and I found this little chart here, and I thought this was kind of interesting. It just breaks down each of the people and then just kind of different characteristics about each of them. So I thought this was kind of neat, just how it breaks it down and gives you all of that information there about them. So let's see here. And then part 4 was talking about how to rally those who believe. So it was kind of broken out, like the first chapter was talking about start with why, but know how. And it was talking about how energy excites people and charisma inspires. So it was talking about like people who come in, you know, who have like that rah, 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 kind of like your cheerleader. And, you know, those people are the people who motivate you, but those aren't the people who necessarily are going to be the ones who are going to inspire you to keep that going long term. So the person who has that charisma, they're the one that can inspire you to keep going for the long haul once that initial kind of like motivation, rah, rah, cheerleading has kind of died off. So the energy, it was talking about how, you know, you can see that, you can measure it, you can copy it, you can duplicate somebody's, you know, energy level, but charisma, I mean, you can't really copy that. That's something you just kind of have. So again, your charisma, it has nothing at all to do with energy. It just all comes with understanding your why. And then it was talking about amplifying the source of inspiration. So it was talking about how the golden circle is 2-dimensional, but if you kind of take it and make it 3-dimensional and turn it into a cone, it represents a company or an organization. At the very top, you have your CEO, who is your leader, who understands the why. And then your middle level there are your senior executives who are inspired by the leader's vision and know how to bring that why to life. And then you have your what people, and that's kind of where, you know, the tangible stuff is. That's where the majority of your employees are, and that's kind of where it meets the road. So let's see here. And then the next section was talking about knowing your why, know your how, and then what. So it was talking about the golden circle. You have your golden circle, and then you have your organization on top, which is your cone, and then on top of that sits your marketplace. And your marketplace, that's where all of your customers are, your potential customers, your press, your shareholders, your competition, and suppliers and the money. So the only contact that the organization has with the marketplace is your what. And so if everything happening in the what doesn't clearly represent your why the company exists, the success of the company is going to be hindered. So it's very important that your what clearly reflects your why, so that way it sends a clear, consistent message to the marketplace. And then I love this last part. It was talking about communications, not about speaking, it's about listening, and it goes into talking about the celery test. So typically, in order to improve on your how or your what, a lot of times we will look to other people. We'll ask people for recommendations, suggestions, we'll go to conferences, we'll read books. We're just trying to get all this information that we can, you know, to help us be better at our how and our what. And a lot of people just make the assumption that what works good for one organization is going to work good for all organizations. And we all know that's not true. So I was talking about the celery test. Is an example is you go to a dinner party and somebody comes up to you and tells you, oh, your organization, you need M&Ms. And then you're talking to somebody else over at the dinner table and they're like, oh, you need Oreos. And then you go to another table and somebody's like, oh, you need rice milk. Somebody else says you need celery, and just a variety of different things. So you go to the store and you buy all of these things. Well, you just wasted a lot of money because you bought them because you were told to buy them. But if you knew at the beginning that your why was to be healthy, then you would have only bought the celery and the rice milk. You wouldn't have bought the M&Ms. You wouldn't have bought the Oreos because those go against your why, because those aren't healthy. So it was kind of just talking about, you need to be clear on your why, and kind of the celery test is a good thing to flush that through. And then it gave another story that I really liked. The more celery you use, the more you trust you earn. It gave a story about Mark Cuban, and it was talking about how his wife was gone and he was at home watching his two daughters, and he had something that he needed to do. So basically he was just going to turn on the TV and let it kind of babysit his daughter. So he had two movies, and one of the movies was a Disney movie, and the other, I can't remember what company it was, but he put in the Disney movie for his daughter. And why did he do that? Because we all know that Disney, they have a quality product. He's not going to have to pre-screen it beforehand and worry about, what content is on that his daughter is going to be seeing. And so it was just talking about, the more times you use a company, the more comfortable you get with it, and you earn their trust because you know what they are about. So I really like that. And then it was talking about like the violation of celery. This was another good example. It was talking about Volkswagen. And I think we're all pretty much familiar with Volkswagen. They have the Beetle. They put, your little flower on your dashboard. And a lot of times people think of like the Volkswagen buses from the day, you have your hippies and all of that. Well, several years ago, Volkswagen came out with a luxury SUV that cost $70,000. Well, that goes totally against what you think of when you think of Volkswagen, and it was ultimately a failure. So it was talking about, you kind of need to stay in your own lane and know your why. And it was talking about, how Toyota did the same thing, but they created a separate brand, and they have their Lexus brand, which is associated with their quality and luxury, where they knew that if they would have kept it under the Toyota name, it would not have had the same success. So, but I thought that was really good because, again, we all, can relate to that, and just knowing about Volkswagen. So, but that was pretty much parts 3 and 4.
It's funny because I drive a Volkswagen. I have a Beetle convertible, and and when I was looking at Lexus, a couple, like when I was buying my car, and my friends were like, "Why are you going to buy a Lexus? It's just a Toyota with the Lexus with the Lexus symbol on it." And I was like, it's true. I mean, the like, obviously there was more luxury to it, but like the bones of the vehicle is, it's manufactured by Toyota, so it's just like
right.
Funny that you said that you brought that up, but people will pay for it because Lexus means status,
And I drive a Toyota.
What?
I said, and I drive a Toyota.
What kind of Toyota do you have?
I have a RAV4.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That's like an SUV then, though.
Yeah.
We had a Jetta, and we actually got to drive a Passat for a while. I actually think of Volkswagen as like nicer. Like I don't know, when you were sharing the examples, I don't know if they came from the book, but I was like, it's funny because interpretation is, it's different for everyone, like how you interpret things. But I interpret Volkswagen as like a higher level.
Yeah, Volkswagen's nicer, but Toyota is like the Camry. It's just like basic vehicles, and then they started making Lexus, but Toyota makes Lexus.
No, yeah, but like when the example was given that like when the Volkswagen came out with like a super expensive, expensive SUV, it went against what they stand for. I was like, I don't know, I think a Volkswagen is being more expensive, but it's like we love it. Like we feel that it's a better car, like our experience with it. So I don't know, it's just funny because it's interpretation. I didn't interpret it that way.
I like Volkswagen. I just think Volkswagen is more of like a hippie, like she was saying. It's the culture of Volkswagen that's different than.
Well, yeah, that's like, and I don't feel that way. Like my interpretation is like not that. So I don't know, it's just, so I'm not saying like, it's just interesting. You know, people interpret things a different way.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. Well, did you have
Well,
any-
actually, another share about like when you guys were talking about like the salad or celery and all that stuff. That's something that I've actually been hitting on a lot with my clients. You know, like when a new program launches, it's not for everyone. Like I was never interested in 10 rounds, and that's not my jam. And like with meal plans, we have so many options. I literally just had a new client join today. And I mean, she's doing intermittent fasting and like gave me all these different reasons as to like, well, should I do like, you know, 24 hours like of fasting and then this, and like some of like the options that she gave me, I was like, what the heck are you doing? And I was like, why are you doing intermittent fasting? Because a lot of people just jump on a bandwagon and it doesn't work for them because that's not like, it's not your style. It's not like, and so that was my first question to her, like, why are you choosing this? Like, there's nothing wrong with intermittent fasting, but like, clearly she doesn't know what she's doing. So it's like, why? What led you to this? Like, why do you feel that this is your perfect fit? So I think that's, I don't know, it's just an interesting topic. And I know like between our two main meal plans, I'm always like, well, are you more like, you know, type A personality and you want to, you know, be told exactly what to do and how to do it? Or are you more like type B where, you know, and so it allows you to lead them like, okay, well, I feel that maybe a better fit might be containers or it might be 2B mindset, but just because it works for somebody else has zero to do with it working for you. And that's so important to find your need and a fit for your needs.
Definitely. For sure. Well, thank you for that, Jamie. That was awesome, that presentation. I'm like, I must be a good leader because I'm attracting good leaders. I always have this story that I'm not a good leader and I don't know where it comes from, but it's like this story that I tell myself. And then I'm like, well, clearly, like I must have leadership qualities if I can attract these women onto my team. And she's like doing a PowerPoint presentation and it's all like with pictures and stuff. And Jonna's like that. And, you know, Stephanie's launched her own app and, you know, it's like just, you know, I guess I have to give myself more credit. More credit.
I was a PowerPoint too. I was like, wow, that's a lot of time that she put into this. Like, that's pretty cool.
You're a very skilled leader. I can see the leadership qualities in you. Thank you for doing that.
Oh,
And I'm not
thank you.
in the book club, but I think this is like, these are awesome. So thank you for those that are doing it and sharing it. I'm enjoying it. Just want to say
Good.
Good, thank you.
Yes, that was awesome. That was really good. Does anyone have anything else about the book club before we move into, I just have a couple of announcements. I probably should have done them at the beginning, but just a couple of shares. We have we have a sneak peek into coaching on Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I need to work on the presentation this weekend because I could do it on Friday, actually. I could work on it and get like more images. And if you want to share your story, just, you know, we're like the theme of what our discussion was last time was like making it more fun and making them see like you're joining this awesome crew of women. I mean, like, look at how amazing, just listening to your presentation. That was so awesome. Like, I was like, wow, it's so impressive. You know, they're getting to join not just like me, but they're getting to join all these amazing women. Like Jonna, you know, you didn't do personal development before and now it's helping you in your golf, you know, and just, it's like, the benefits of being a coach go so far beyond the financial benefits. That's why I'm like really loving this book, because I'm like, shit, like I'm inspired again. You know, I'm getting inspired again. You know, like you go through, like Stephanie said, you go through your ups and downs, and you know, and the kids are going back to school, and this is kind of like the season. It's a little bit slower for us, and then with COVID and people's financial concerns and whatever. A lot of teams have actually really exploded because they've been leveraging the business opportunity, because people are like, you know, they're in financial constraints, but you have to find the right people who are like the early adopters who want to actually, you know, put in the work. So Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if you want to make slides for your part, who would like to? Sabrina's Serena's frozen.
Am I frozen?
He's like, but it's really funny that I'll take a screenshot of your face and send it to you. Super funny.
So I did want to show you guys, like, I know that I'm a couple states away from all the fires, but this is absolutely surreal. Can you see the sun?
You're frozen.
Like if you, oh, dang it. Because there is.
Oh, there we go.
So that's the sun. The little orange ball, that's the sun.
So the crazy thing is, even in Michigan, our sun has been our view of the sun has been like, you can look at the sun because it's so hazed over. Like you can see it perfectly.
Wow.
We were on the
have
way
the same thing here in
last night.
Ohio.
It's like on our way to the lake, literally in the car, the left side of the road was hazy and the right side of the road was clear blue skies. It was like we're on the cusp of like where it kind of like is ending to like the drift over. It was weird.
That's crazy. I can't believe how far that's
But
spreading.
there's some like high pressure system that's taking and carrying the smoke through the upper half of the United States all the way over there, just because of how many fires there are. I was watching something on the Weather Channel or something the other day when they were talking about all the fires and the smoke, and like we've got a very low air quality alert out. I mean, it's hazy here, even,
My gosh.
even with that. So, but yes, I would like to share, and if we're doing it on a Monday, right?
Monday at 8 p.m.
Okay.
Eastern.
Yeah. As long as I'm in a car driving like I am now, I can hop on and hopefully share for a few minutes, because when I'm in between deliveries, I can do that.
Okay, cool. And Jonna, who else wants I mean, it's totally whoever wants to share. Like we can do 2 or 3.
I may or may not be able to. I'm
Okay.
just getting home from work at like a little after 8, and I'll be putting the baby down. So it depends on if she goes quickly or slow.
You know what I need to do? I need to figure out how we're going to weave in like the different stories so that my presentation isn't. All right. So you know what? I need to work on my presentation before Monday. I am working tomorrow. I'm off on Friday. So I will hit it on Friday, the presentation, and I'll post it in the team page, and I'll try to see where we can weave the people in. And then maybe you could just be someone who presents later, and the people that can get on at 8 could be people that present and kind of weave in those stories based on what I'm sharing. And my intention was to try to get more about like the products too, not just like insanity, like the workout, because that's what I started with, but talking more about like Shakeology and the performance line, and maybe I'll even use some of the stuff from like that presentation, that slide, that PowerPoint that you made, Jonna, had like good stuff in it that I could add in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think we can weave in, so I can post it in the team page, and then you guys can approve if you're good with it. Like, I'm good with going at that time. Like, what do you think is like the theme of your story, I guess? Because that way I can have it in mind when I'm doing my part and see where would they fit in to what I'm sharing. Like yours, Jonna, is like consistency, right? Is like basically like.
Yeah, but I was thinking like because we all kind of how we like fit in there, because like I don't feel like my beginning part of the story like is inspirational of what got me into my journey so much as like somebody else's, but maybe mine could be more, God, I don't know, aspect of the shoot.
No,
I don't
sure what got you in, because now I'm curious, because obviously it would connect with somebody. It would connect with someone that's like you.
Well, yeah, right. But my thing was like, usually like when we've done this in the past, like I go through my whole story and then everybody goes through their whole story. And it's kind of like, we were trying to figure out how to make it more like shorter, more exciting. So I'm like, I don't know what part of my story would I take out and be like, that was the thing that was like the most exciting for me, and kind of like just expand on that would fit into like the normal, like a kind of standard storyline or something. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm coming across the right way, but
I think Well, I think for you, like when I think about your story, I think about the fact that you were already like signing people up for bod, you
Yeah.
know, and then
Yeah.
and then you're like, but why don't I just like make money because I'm already doing it, you know? And then to be excited about that, you were excited about the fact that like you could now get paid
Yeah.
to do what you were already doing. Like that's my story too. But I don't have, so I could get to that point in my story and then not really share that about my story. And then I could bring you in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I'm kind of thinking how, because that's the only way
Okay.
that we can kind of all
me
weave
write
one
this down.
story together, but that we can all kind of share the part that like either resonated most with us or that we felt the most like aha moment passionate about, like the part, you know, getting to that part or something.
All right. So I was pretty much doing the same thing. I was getting like
Yeah.
already people signed up. So I won't go into a lot of detail about that part of mine. I'll just say like, you know, you know, how I got in. And then I started attracting people through my story that were just like me, like you saw, and then you can go into how you saw me and followed me on social media and like you didn't reach out
Yeah.
for the whole time and you knew I was
Yeah.
somehow making money and you knew that I was doing these programs. So I can lead in at that point for yours because I think that's kind of like your big, like,
Yeah, that was when I'm like, why wouldn't I? Like, I couldn't deny it anymore. Like, why wouldn't I try? That was my
Right.
point of why wouldn't I try coaching?
and you can focus on the fact that you are like a major introvert. So that's why, like, so you can kind of abolish that, objection that a lot of people have is like, no way, I can't do that. Like, I'm an introvert. Like, there's no way I can like sell. And so you can
Mhm.
kind of lead it into like the whole, you were already
This
doing
is
it
an
anyway.
introvert's business. I'm sorry, but like this is like if you're an introvert, you should like that should be a pull to want to do this business. I know it was for me. I was like, I do not want to go to people's homes. I do not want to like have to talk to you face to face. Like, absolutely not. I don't want to leave my house. This business is perfect.
Exactly. It is. So you can kind of touch on
That's a
that.
good point for you, actually, because for me, I was like, oh my God, I have to like put myself online for everybody to see me. Oh my God, I don't want everybody to see me like this.
But see, that's why I think it's important for you to touch on that point, because then you're already setting those people up that have the objection that they don't want to be on social media, that you're like saying like, you can do this, you know, you're giving them permission to see themselves in you and see like, oh, I could do that. Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah. Okay. You might not see me because I got to make notes real quick.
Okay. Let me know if you need me to write it down. Send yourself a voice text saying what you need to just talk about. All right. So, and then we have, Lisa, yours was more for the accountability piece. Okay.
Yeah, being more accountable. Since I started coaching, I've been better.
Okay. So being more accountable to, because you're kind of you're having some people depend on you and you're being accountable to being public with your journey, right? Yeah. Okay. So, I didn't really need that because I didn't have like the challenge group back then. So I'll figure out where, maybe it could even be towards the end where you can talk about, or maybe when I kind of touch on some of the products, because that's kind of like boring, like, oh, this is what Shakeology does. This is what, like, you know, I mean, it's factual. It's not exciting. Then maybe I could talk about, but like the products are amazing, but only if you actually use them do they work. And that's why coaching creates more accountability for you. So then we could go into and that will be probably more towards the end, or at least in the middle. So I'll put that in there and then I'll see how that works and I'll post in the team page, and you guys can do like a video and share with you guys like the slides. And then Sabrina, yours was, I mean, I know your story, but what do you feel is like your key thing?
My thing was helping other people, like the joy and the like, I don't know if it's joy or like how exactly to put it, but like just the feeling that I get helping other people meet their goals the way that I was helped, because without this I wouldn't be where I'm at. So like being able to give back to somebody what was given to me.
So maybe yours is more like the community aspect of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you tried things on your own and you kind of got results on your own, and then you didn't. And then when you had someone that was me, that was your coach, that was holding you accountable, and I created that community aspect for you, you always were engaged in the challenge group from day one. Like, you were not that person that didn't post. You always posted. So that community, and then too, that public accountability within the challenge group.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I should do, I should bring your story in when I talk about challenge groups. If I talk about like the groups and how we actually coach, like we coach through these challenge groups. I think this could be really good. I hope we have some people on. I'm gonna
How do we invite people?
What?
How do we invite people?
I just go through my list and I'm like, hey, if you ever consider doing what I do, like
How do I get them like the information to join the call, I guess is what I'm needing.
It's gonna
Sorry.
be the same Zoom link as we use for this.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
at 8 p.m., you can send them the Zoom link with the password, and then at 8 p.m. they can hop on and listen to us talk.
Okay, great.
And meet us.
Perfect.
I keep saying, like, if you want to meet us, because it's like they're meeting us, instead of like listen to us talk. We're going to share information. Like, come meet us, guys. Come meet our team. All right, I have been posting about it, so who knows if I actually get people, but I'm going to do some personal messaging inviting anyway. And then is that it? Melissa, do you want to share, or are you going to be able to get on, or?
Yeah, if you guys, I can share, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess for me, I always wanted to work in the fitness industry. I always wanted to work in the fitness industry, and I was going to be a personal trainer. I was going to do all these other things, but then of course I found Beachbody because I became a stay-at-home mom. And then I jumped at the coaching opportunity.
Oh, and then your story is that it gave you like an identity again that was separate from being a mom and a wife.
Yeah.
Like, you're making a money, and I mean, not that it's like, you're earning an income and you're providing for your family, and that's like exciting for you, and you're meeting up with women, and having adult conversations, because that I think speaks to a lot of women that are stay-at-home moms that are just like stuck in like baby world all day, and the only person they have to talk to is their husband.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Okay,
This
so
is like my thing, you know what I mean? This is my thing that I get to have apart from, the kids and the family and all, you know what I mean? That's kind of the way, I don't know.
maybe your story could be like how we end. You could end it and bring it home with like just talking about how, because I think that's important to a lot of people, is it's like your contribution to society too, like your to your family and to society, and to like your contribution to life in general, like you're contributing something. And I think that everyone can relate to wanting to contribute. I mean, that's the whole like start with my book is all about that, is like people want to have an impact. So maybe we could bring because that's not really my story, but I think, like the whole like being a mom and stuff. So that could bring it home. And that was really inspiring for people. Okay, cool. So I have work to do on my part of it. I will try to like edit mine down so that I don't have to share, like maybe just go quickly through my story. And then of course I'm going to share about the financial piece of it, and a little bit about like the products, like, like Shakeology, and that's kind of like boring stuff. And then maybe just kind of how the team, like focusing mine on like how this team unfolded, because I kind of like, I was the starter of it, like I was the first person. And then the fact that if I hadn't said yes to coaching, like all these, you might not have had the opportunity to be coaches too, because that was what gave you the opportunity to say yes, like me saying yes. And that's how far like the ripple effect of your impact can spread, if you say yes. Okay, I got it all down. I wanted to talk about the breakaway launch, but I don't want, like, it's already 8:56. So I do want to say I did the sample workout. Anyone else do it? Oh my God, I fucking loved it. Like, I thought it was awesome.
I love it.
I like, this is the most excited I've been about a program in the history of Beachbody. Only because of the fact that, like, I did the Spartan training and, like, I've been trying to get back into running. And this chick is, I didn't really think the strength training, like, I thought she kind of went too quickly through the moves and didn't give enough, like, instruction. Like, she was moving too fast between moves for me. I had to, like, rewind it, like, several times because I'm like, oh shit, like, I wasn't ready. And I thought that, like, it was kind of boring, like, the backdrop, like, no music, whatever. But I really liked, like, the moves that she did. And I guess she was going through every single different workout. So it was like, you only got, like, short little bits of each. So the program isn't like that, just so you know. It's like you're going to be working specific, like, muscle groups or whatever. And the running part to me was like 17 minutes. You download it to, like, your smartphone. I put in my AirPods and, like, I haven't run in like 6 months. And I was just like smiling from ear to ear the whole time because she's like talking in your ear and she's telling you, like, okay, now you're going to run at like perceived rate of exertion. And that's like what we learned as, like, personal training is, like, if you can still talk, then you're at this perceived rate of exertion. So she tells you, like, you should be at like a 4 to 5, you should be at a 6, 7, you should be at like a 9, like, you're sprinting as hard as you can. And then when you're sprinting, like, the music turns on and she kind of gets quieter and you're like running with, like, this music in your ears. I was like so happy. I am so excited about this because I think it's going to really help my running and my Spartan training. So you don't have to be a runner to be excited about it. She really does break it down for, like, all levels. You just go at your pace with what she says to do. Like, the interval training, it's not like you're going to go out and she's going to be like, go run 2 miles. That's not it. It's like you are running at what your pace is, and then your strength training to, like, help with your running. And also she has you do upper body too. So it's not just like running and core and everything. So
I've actually a lot of questions from, like, my clients that are like, oh, I'm not a runner. Like, can I do this? And I was like, you do not need to be a runner. Like what you just said. I was like, if you want to be on the elliptical, because she's talking about, like, you know, go at a level 4 to 5, now kick it up to 7 to 8. Like, great. Do it on the elliptical, do it on your bike, do it on a walk. And I actually have a client that was in the pilot test group, and she did confirm that every day is like a mixture of, like, the strength training and then the cardio piece. And she said you can either run or there's going to be, like, a cardio piece. But it's funny because I actually enjoyed the backdrop and I was like, oh my God, I love it. It's just her and it's like a gorgeous backdrop. It's something different. So, you know, that is kind of funny. It's interpretation, you know, what we all like whatever. I have been waiting for her to come out with a workout. If you haven't done Mestamas, I'm curious, Marissa, have you done Mestamas?
no.
Okay. So I overlooked that for, like, over a year because I'm like, oh, it's Spanish and I don't want to do the English overlay. And then I kept seeing somebody post about it. I would definitely do it because I'm used to her style. So I was very quick to, like, pick up what she was doing because I've been kind of playing around with Mestamas lately, but, like, that is a good program. I think that was overlooked by so many. It's got so many cool moves. That's a very good prerequisite to get used to her style. She's very innovative. And just, it's awesome. I love her. I think she's amazing. And I think the program's awesome. I actually ran today on my own, knowing what the program does and how she's like for me, like, if I run outside, and this may be interest of somebody else, but, like, if I run outside, I'm not sprinting on my own. Like, I have zero desire to do that. But if I had somebody in my ear that's like, go faster now, you know, like, for the next 30 seconds, we're going, like, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's like I don't know. It's just kind of cool. I think it's a cool program. I'm excited.
I loved it. So I'm going to have a sneak peek into the 30-day breakaway. You can invite your people. It's going to be in the same sneak peek group that we had for MBF and MBFA. So I think some of you are already in there. My assistant is going to load all the posts. I bought content from the Mompreneur VA. So you guys will have access to all that. I'm not going to share the content from the Mompreneur because she has, like, explicit legal action if you share it with your team. But, like, the calendar that I posted, that was, like, one thing I posted in Team Aloha. Like, I posted the calendar of what to do, like, to launch it. So we're going to have the sneak peek group. I'm doing a free running accountability group. Like, I don't have anything planned for it. I'm just, like, I just talked about it on my stories today. I'm like, I need to get back to being running. Like, I'm just trying to get people into my community, into like a smaller community on Facebook, and just to hold each other accountable to getting out and running. So I'm doing that, a free group. You guys are welcome to join if you want. I created a link for that. I have one friend that said like, I'm in, I need accountability. I'm like, you're the only one so far, but I'm going to keep posting about it and sharing about it. And I did put some posting ideas in the team page. And I posted one of the ideas from the mompreneur, like, was, if you go to my page, it was like running friends, like, what are the best shoes to run? I have like 70 or some plus comments on it. So those they came from posting ideas that I posted in the team page. And that was from the mompreneur stuff. And she told me not to share, but I'm like, you're going to see it on my page anyway. So they're just questions. They're like, what shoes should I wear? Like, so what you're doing is you're building your list of people to talk to about the program. But like, I'm just trying to go into my free community, like, just hold me accountable to running. Like, I don't care if you sign up for 30-day breakaway, just hold me accountable to running, because that's what I want to do right now. And that really is like the intention behind my group. So don't, feel like if you join, it's like I'm trying to sell you on something, that's not my intention. So I have that, the free group you're welcome to join, the sneak peek. And I'm going to be trickling in stuff into the team page, and my assistant's going to help me stay on point, because I'm like, not that organized and stuff. So I'm like, these are the things that we need to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you help me with this? And she's like, sure. So stay tuned in the team page for details. Check out the sample workout, and, I guess it's, to each his own. To me, I was like, I need more stimulation from her, like the background was like, she was outside in the woods, like by herself. There was no cast, there was no music, and there's not going to be music, just so you know, so you can put on your own music, which is cool.
I have a question with the sneak peek page. I'm not aware if I'm in that page. Do we invite people into that if we have people, and how does that work? Like, do I have permission to invite people into that?
You have permission to invite people into it. And the way that I do it is I just tell people, like, if they want information on the new program that's coming out, like, you're trickling in running stuff, like, right? So you're starting to get people interested in running, and then you start sharing in your stories and your posts and talking to people on your list and asking them, if they want to do the program or be part of your test group or whatever. And then you invite them. You're like, well, I have an info group, and it literally is going to tell all the details. Who's the trainer? What's the program about? Like, it's all laid out for you. So you're very welcome to invite people. They're your people. So I think I have a question when they come in, like, who's your coach, like, or who invited you to this group, to make sure that that it's actually coming from like us.
Do I have to be a part of do I have to be in the group right now in order to invite people into the group? Do I have to be?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I gotta find it. Where, like, what is it?
I'll post it in the team page.
Okay.
I just created it today.
Okay.
Well, no, we had the Snoop group from like before, but I just got like in touch with my assistant this week and started getting her to schedule the posts out. So I think the posts don't start until Monday. So we still have time to, but there's going to be package, like the pricing is going to be in there. They're going to have like all the details of everything. So, even what's cool about it is that it will stay there. So even after I had people that asked me about like MBF and MBFA, like later down the line, like recently, and I was like, you know what, I have a sneak peek group here. Just let me throw you in there, go through the posts, because she put them in the unit section. So I was like, just go through the posts and decide if it's for you. So yeah. You can invite, you can be there, you can invite to it. That's what it's for. Like, my intention is to provide the environment for people to make it easy, and that we're not all doing the same work, over and over again.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, of course. I'm really excited about it. So like, I know my excitement's going to spill over into like your people and you guys.
Well, I know a lot of people love running. I'm not a runner. I've ran before, but I never like loved it, enjoyed it. It hurt me. So I'm curious to see if this training, I'm going to try it to see if I can work my way into it and feel any different than I ever have before. So we'll see.
I know. Try the sample workout, and just, even if you don't do the strength training, it's 17 minutes, the running part. Like, you could do that on a day that you do, like, you could do it on the day that you do Power Ignite, and you don't have to do like the strength training part of it if you didn't want to, just so you can try the running part. Cause like, that was what I really, really liked about it. So
yeah,
I'm pretty excited about the program too. And it was so funny. I saw your post, Marissa, asking about shoes, and I was going to do the same thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to start posting. It was so funny, but I was looking too because I want to buy a new pair of running shoes for this program. So I was looking through to see what people were saying, but I was going to post the same thing. Like, okay, all my runner friends out there, what shoes do you love? You know? So it was just funny.
I didn't expect it to get like that much of a response either. I was like, holy shit. I didn't realize I had so many friends that run, you know? I mean, and plus,
And that's apparently that's a passionate group who want to tell you about how much they love their shoes.
Yeah, some people like all the way, this one, all the way. Like, and I'm like, they really even got me to be like, maybe I should try Hoka's instead of, or Hoka or whatever you call it, Hoka instead of Brooks. I mean, I've been a Brooks person like forever, but I'm like, they really convinced me that. But anyway, yeah, so the posting ideas that from that are in the team page. So you can just, copy and paste the question and start seeing who's a runner, who's on your list, and then start talking to them. And then maybe I'm going to personally message the people that were messaging me and invite them to my new free running accountability community. And then I got a bunch of running memes. You can steal those too. They're all from Mompreneur. Like, you can take those from my page, like use them, whatever you want, once I start posting them. So I'm excited.
Do you have a Fleet Feet near you?
A what?
A Fleet Feet?
Fleet Feet? No.
Okay. They're I know there's one in Nashville, and I have them here in Ohio, so I wasn't sure if they were national or not. But you can go there. They actually have a treadmill. They put you on the treadmill, you run, and they measure your gait and all of this stuff and custom fit you for running shoes.
I have done it before, and I did do it when I started Spartan training again it's like at the Runner's Edge. It's like the local running store, and they watched me run. They didn't do it on the treadmill, but they watched me like run outside. So yeah, I know, but I'm thinking like maybe I will try something new because I've been in Brooks forever. I don't have any issues with Brooks, but like maybe, I will try something new. But thank you.
So a very long time ago, I ran like I've done the Boulder twice, which is like one of the hardest 10Ks out there. And both times, so the first time I was completely out of shape and it was horrible. The second time I had actually been trying to run, and I had allergies. Like half mile in, I couldn't keep up because my allergies went insane. Something was going nuts. But I've done a couple of other ones of like 5Ks and stuff, and I always like, this is how I psych myself out. I tell myself I'm not a runner.
But
however,
you don't have to be a runner to do this program.
I know, and I always tell people, I'm like, this fat girl don't run, and if I'm running, something's chasing me and you should be running too. However, I have done some in the past. It does intrigue me, and when I did it in the past, I was not in as good of cardiovascular shape as I am now. So I was kind of trying to talk myself out of doing this program because of the whole like running aspect of it, but I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and do it.
No, you can do it. You can totally do it.
And I know I have a lot of running friends, and hopefully I can gain some more interest and traction with that. So
exactly. All right, let's do a boomerang, you guys. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, let's see. Wait, let me get okay. Let me move this bottle here. I haven't done this in so long. I'm like putting the camera like in front of my face. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you guys so much for your shares. I was really looking forward to seeing you guys tonight. It is something that is exciting during my week to get on here and see your guys' faces, and it makes me feel like happy, to connect with you guys, especially with the isolation that's going on. I mean, I was pretty isolated already before, but even more now. So yeah. All right, ladies, have a great night. Have a great evening. I'll post the stuff in the team page about the sneak peek group and my free group and the presentation for the behind the scenes so that you all can approve it first. Okay? Bye, ladies. See you soon. Bye, Royce.
Bye.
Gentlemen. Bye, Royce.